Someone in your camp is dead. You know who did it. You've known him your whole life, hunted with him, shared food with him, slept 10 feet away from him for years. There's no courtroom, no judge, no police, no law, just 30 people standing around a fire, deciding what happens next. For 300,000 years, that was the only justice system that existed. No prisons, no lawyers, no written law of any kind. Every single murder in human history, until about 5,000 years ago, was handled by a small group of people who all knew each other personally. The same people who hunted with the killer. The same people who loved the victim. So what did they actually do? The answer isn't what any documentary has told you. It's more deliberate, more brutal, and in some ways more fair than anything we've designed since. And the part that should unsettle you most isn't what happened to the killer. It's who got to decide. In the 1980s, an anthropologist named Christopher Boehm at the University of Southern California spent years analyzing records from over 50 hunter-gatherer societies across 6 continents, looking for one thing. What did a band actually do when someone inside it killed one of their own? What he found changed how anthropologists think about justice entirely. Here's what you have to understand first. A hunter-gatherer band was not a society. It was a family, usually 25 to 50 people, everyone related, everyone dependent on each other for survival. You couldn't call the police because the police was your cousin. You couldn't go to a judge because the judge was sitting across the fire. And violence happened. Arguments over food, arguments over mates, arguments over respect. In a world with no walls and no doors, every tension lived right next to you. So what stopped it from spiraling? The first line of defense wasn't force, it was gossip. Boehm found that in nearly every forager society he studied, the community's first response to a dangerous person was talking about them, behind their back, in front of their face, constantly. In a group of 30 people where reputation determined whether anyone fed you, hunted with you, or trusted your children, being named as a threat was a genuine punishment. It cost you everything. If gossip failed, the band gathered and publicly named what you'd done, loudly, specifically. Public shame in a group you can never leave is physiologically devastating. Your body registers it the same way it registers physical pain. And if that failed, the band had one final option. Anthropologists call it coalition killing. But there's a cleaner word for it: execution. Not carried out by one person, done by everyone. Every adult in the band, so that no single individual carried the weight of blood alone. Collective, unanimous, deliberate, and never in anger. By the time a band reached this point, they had already tried everything else, sometimes over months. The execution was the conclusion of a long conversation. The group had decided together that this person was simply too dangerous to continue existing among them. But here's where it gets genuinely strange. The same man who would be executed for killing a band member could be celebrated, given better food, granted his choice of mates, for killing someone from an outside group. Napoleon Chagnon documented this directly among the Yanomami of Venezuela. Men who had killed enemies from rival villages had on average more than twice as many wives and children as men who had never killed. The act was identical. A human being died, but who died determined everything. Your band didn't care about killing as an abstract moral wrong. It cared about killing as a threat to group survival. The moral line wasn't drawn at the act, it was drawn at the boundary of the band, and for killings that weren't cold-blooded, a fight that went too far, a moment of rage, the killer was given one chance to make it right, not through confession, through payment, food, labor, tools, given to the victim's family until the debt was balanced. If they refused or killed again, the decision was unanimous, and it was final. In 1993, Boehm published his findings in Current Anthropology. He called the mechanism a leveling coalition, the band's coordinated suppression of anyone who accumulated too much power or posed a persistent threat to the group. He wrote, "The intentional elimination of individuals who pose a threat to group cooperation is one of the most consistent behaviors documented across all known forager societies. Not one society, not a handful, all of them, across every continent, every culture. The same system, running independently, everywhere humans lived in small groups. It worked for 300,000 years without a single written law. That instinct didn't disappear when courts arrived. You feel it every time you hear about someone who hurt someone and walked free. That tightness in your chest, the heat behind your eyes, isn't just frustration. Researchers who study altruistic punishment have found that people will sacrifice their own resources to punish a cheater even when it benefits them nothing, even when the victim is a stranger, even when no one will ever know they did it. It makes no rational sense by modern logic. Unless your brain was built for a world where letting a killer walk meant he would kill again, where the safety of everyone you loved depended on what the band decided around that fire tonight. You weren't designed for courts and appeals and proceedings that stretch years into the future. Your justice system is 30 people who all know each other, making a decision before the fire goes out. That system is still running inside you. It just has nowhere to go. We replaced it with institutions, with procedures, with systems designed to be impartial, slow, and rational, insulated from exactly the kind of raw collective emotion that ancient bands ran on. And those systems are genuinely better at certain things, at protecting the innocent, at preventing a mob from getting it wrong, at handling a scale of society no campfire could manage. But they didn't replace the instinct. They just put glass between it and what it wants to do. Every person who has ever screamed, "That's not justice," at a news story has felt it. Not as a modern frustration, as something older. The fire is still lit. The band is still waiting. Do you think a small community of people who all knew each other could deliver better justice than the system we have now? Or does scale make that impossible? Let me know in the comments.